All right, well, now we want to bring in a Republican congressman from Illinois and member of the House Foreign Affairs Committee who served in the U.S. Air Force, Representative Adam Kinzinger. Representative, good to have you with us.
Thank you.
All right, so first off the top, President Trump was calling out Democrats for being, quote, obstructionists in this new interview that we showed you with Pete Hegseth. Here's another sound of that. Oh, sorry, we already played you that sound, buddy. We're just making sure that you're awake, Congressman, this morning. But what is your take on that idea of just obstructionist? The fact that in order to get anything done, you need both parties at some point to work together.
You really do. And look, this goes on both sides. I think the president needs to reach out, but I think the president has been reaching out on a lot of issues. The reality we have to understand is that health care was never going to be bipartisan, at least in this first part of it. I mean, it's been 7 years of us fighting Republicans against Democrats over it. But we have a real opportunity on tax reform, infrastructure, and frankly, something I'm very excited about, what I've seen from this administration, national defense and America's role in the world. There's real opportunity to work together. But I have been seeing, for instance, with the Russia investigation, House Intel Committee members on the Democratic side rush to the cameras to talk about this collusion with Russia, even though there's no evidence and they're supposed to be investigating in a neutral manner. So that is, I think, poisoning the well to real bipartisanship.
Do you have any Democrats in the House that are willing to work with you, wanting to work with you and the Republicans, or is it really as bad as it seems?
No, there really are good Democrats that are willing to work with us. I talk to them all the time, but you have to keep in mind there's some real political pressures. Again, I don't think they want to work with us on health care. I think we have to understand that at least this first part is just going to be a partisan mess. But when it comes to infrastructure, when it comes to things like tax reform, the president has reached out. I know there are people that want to, but keep in mind they have some pretty serious pressures in their party. When I talk about the left of the Democratic Party, I'm not even talking about Nancy Pelosi anymore. She's moderate in comparison to Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders, who's really dragging the Democratic Party left and frankly threatening these folks, the more moderates that want to work with us, with primaries if they even so much as acknowledge that President Trump was rightly and legitimately elected.
So, Congressman, you're speaking out this morning, but as I cover Washington, I don't see a lot of your colleagues going to the mat for this president. They seem to be cautious. They seem to be wanting to see how this Russia investigation plays out. They seem to think maybe the mainstream media narrative about chaos is somewhat true, and they don't know what the White House is going to do on any given day. Am I wrong about that? Do you want some of your colleagues standing up and saying, let's get the tax reform done, let's get health care done? Because instead, I'm hearing a lot. You talked about division among Democrats. I'm hearing division among Republicans over health care. And frankly, I'm not hearing a lot of your colleagues speaking out on behalf of this president.
Well, that's true. And I was listening to one of your guests, Carl Higbee, on a prior segment, immediately turn and blame House Republicans for something about what's going on with health care. We've got to work together as a team. Now, as a Republican and as a congressman, my job is to support the president whenever I can, but also still be a check on the executive branch. We have to play that role, and we have to play it right. But when it is all said and done, we need to pivot to what our agenda is. And so I would encourage, frankly, even the administration and the White House to pivot always to what our agenda is and don't get sidetracked by these other issues right now.
All right, let's switch gears now. Nebraska Democratic Party officials saying just horrible things about Congressman Steve Scalise. Let's take a listen.
His whole job is to get people, convince Republicans to kick people off health care.
Okay. We know all of this.
I hate this. I'm glad he got shot.
We've laid in
I'm glad he got shot.
Dude,
I'm not going to say that in public.
You don't have
well,
to
then
say
what are you saying it to us for?
Say something. Say something.
What are you telling us for?
I wish he was dead.
Forget the political aspect of this. Wishing another human dead, that is horrific, unless maybe it's Osama bin Laden there. But how do you feel? This is one of your colleagues. This is somebody you work with when you hear that.
When I hear Democratic Party officials say that, he's a despicable human being. That's the only way to put it. I know Steve Scalise really well. He's a good friend. He's one of the nicest people you'll actually meet, despite being the House Whip. And he's a good human being, a good father, and a good dad. I would say that to any of my colleagues on the left, too. There's humanity here. This has gotten out of control. I put a post on my Facebook a few days ago where it had some of the comments that came into me after the shooting, including, Representative Kinzinger, I wish you were on second base. Abraham Lincoln deserved to die, and so do other Republicans. It's disgusting, and we have to bring that darkness to the light. It's a biblical principle to show Americans what's happening in that kind of dark underground of internet comments, but that's what feeds to these people getting radicalized, grabbing a weapon and baseball practice.
Do you think more Democrats need to come out condemning that sort of language, those horrific threats?
If anybody, any Republican official, even my best friend or father would have said something like that about a Democrat, I'd be out today on this exact show condemning it loudly, and I think they all need to do the same thing.
All right, Representative Kinzinger, always good to have you with us.
Have a good weekend. Thanks for